first graduation ceremonies I attended were either outside or in the L building, which was known as our gymnasium. I remember being at one graduation where there was a storm that started raging right in the middle of the graduation ceremony. And all the buildings that were constructed in that era were tinny, they were metallic, so that it was quite frightening to have the rain pounding and you could hear all this metal being bombarded by raindrops and winds blowing and feeling quite worried whether we were going to make it through the graduation. But we did, and it was interesting when we were able to switch over to the phys ed building, and have our graduations there, because it was much more weather controlled and so on.
The fact that student activities was in charge of the commencement ceremony was not totally unusual, and the fact that it has stayed that way was interesting, and it enabled us to have a strong voice in saying this is about the students. And so when I first came, they were having outside speakers come in, and it didn't take us long to morph that and to say, we don't need all those speeches. That's not what the students want. And most of the commencement ceremonies that I was involved with, it involved only 2 student speakers and the president, in terms of and the outstanding faculty. And the fact that the outstanding faculty read their names. That's one of the coolest parts about it.
I was able to read a person's name, have them standing in front of me and see their pride, and then also hear the people in the audience who were supporting them, who were cheering and encouraging them on and showing all signs of pride as they were yelling and shouting and acknowledging that person's achievement. You could see our student population, which ran from the 18-year-olds through ages of retirement, so that when we would have a 50 or 60-year-old person go through graduation and hear their supporters out in the audience, looking at them and their successes, it was always heartwarming. I loved graduation, and more recent years I was able to go to other completion ceremonies like the nurses' pinning, the GED completion ceremonies, where these people who have not had the high school graduation behind them but go through this ceremony with the college. It all is very heartwarming to see that achievement and that pride in people's faces.
In order to do an event that big, you had to involve many departments. So we would start before 8 o'clock in the morning, and we would not leave until after 11 o'clock at night. And it was the end of the year. It was a big celebration.